Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a as good as possible day. As good as possible. I say that because we're going to talk about doing as well as you possibly can based on the situation that you were presented with, taking into account all of the things that you know about the game, best positions, your tank, your position in matchmaking, all that good stuff. I talk a lot about the critical terrain on maps, places I think that are really important. Sometimes that's, I think more often than not, that's very important, but there are times when it's not important. And I think those times are when the team just doesn't go there, right? You were presented with a situation in the match that you would consider maybe non-standard or not optimal for what your tanks are, for the positioning should be, the matchmaker, all that good stuff. You can't control the other 29 people in the game. Sometimes stuff just happens. How do you handle that? So as good as possible, we're going to show you a couple of games where I'm going to try to do as well as I possibly can based on the situation that I am presented. Middle tier right here, we have some 8s and some 6s. I am tier 7 in the T-23E3, which is kind of a weird, mediocre little American medium tank that I quite like, actually. It's got the little pew-pew gun. We featured it several times recently because I'm closing in on the 100 Battle Challenge, finishing this thing off. Actually, that's not true. I think I'm more like 50 or 60 on this one. But I like it well better than it has any right to be liked, to be honest. 115 little 76 millimeter, 115 alpha gun. There's not a whole lot going for this thing, guys. I mean, it's got good view range. It's got good firing rate, even if its DPM isn't fantastic. It's pretty decent, so it fires very quickly. It's a lot like having a Sherman. Well, it's almost exactly like having a Sherman turret and gun on a tier 7 hull. That could be a little problematic in this game, especially if you start talking about dealing with tier 8s. But enough about the T-23E3. What is going on in this particular match? Holy macaroni. We have a turtle camping. We have a T-103 camping. Granted, 2 TDs. Not ideal, though, if you look at the matchmaker. If I was in one of those two and I saw this setup, I'd get up front because I'd be salivating. Absolutely fantastic setup for their guns to just crush. But that's not what we have. They've decided to hang out back there, and that's the reality of the situation. I often find myself getting mad that the other players aren't, air quotes, doing what they should do. Well, that is really not up to you, fellas. And we find this M6 going up here. We get a couple shots on him. So what do you do? Well, you make do with the situation as best you can. So what is the situation? The 2 tier 8s that are probably have the best guns on my team are hanging out in the back, okay? We have a decent move to the north, so I'm happy more or less with what's going on there. This guy tries to snap me with the auto magical snapulation from the EBR, and he misses, thank goodness. Little focus from the artillery. He says hello, and now I'm like, okay, I can't really move south, guys. I'd love to work the middle. As I was talking, you saw me over there for a moment, but I noticed this is very bad down here in the southeast. Very bad. Yeah, can't go down here because if I get spotted, I'll get shredded. More than likely, they've moved some tanks around this corner. At least that's my assumption, because that's what I would be doing if I noticed there was nobody lighting me as I moved into those areas. I don't know that right now, exactly what's going on, but we have given up that part of the map, so it feels too dangerous. What I'd really like to do is get up the hill and help my guys that are actually doing something over here who are getting a little beat up. My T-28 got thumped pretty hard. I've got a couple other, tier 6s and 7s hanging out there. We just got rid of the scout that was working the middle, and I haven't seen anybody else. And oh, by the way, a near-dead M6 just went up the hill. I'd love to get up the hill, and that's what we're working on right now. Right? If I look at this map and I say central control of the map is pretty important, I'd love to be down there. And if I knew nothing about the match, before this match, if I was briefing this and looking at everybody, I'd say, look, we got to get some eyes down in the southeast so that they don't come around that corner, and we need to control the middle. Well, we're doing neither one of them. We don't have the eyes down there, so the middle is now dangerous, so I've got to change my plan. Do the best I can. I'm going to come up here. I know there's a near-dead M6. I've dabbed the magic 2 button so my little 76 millimeter can thump him. I've got a lot of hit points, and I feel like this is a good situation for me. Unfortunately, he's actually waiting for me. So good on him for kind of thinking maybe someone's going to do that. Hit him twice, and we knock him down. And holy cow, looks like he missed, potentially. Yep. Oh, he got a track. And now I'm in this great position. The enemy team has pushed around the corner there because they're kind of beating up on our guys. That's good for me. So I can come around here and start working on these guys. The poor CC is in trouble because you saw him start to move his turret like he wanted to come shoot me. And that's what a lot of people would do there, or feel like they want to do, but he also didn't want to then give his side to all the guys down there. So his only option now is to just try to get away. I am trying to track him, but not getting any goodness out of that, and then just a terrible shot right there. Sometimes the offensive move into the enemy is the best move that you've got. I'm starting to think in the back of my mind now, somebody saw me probably come up here, or at least they saw me fighting the M6. I wonder if one of the fast tanks, maybe the Scorpion or something, might try to sneak up here behind me, but these dudes are giving me shots. So we'll just accept for the moment that someone might get around behind me. Again, no tracks, that's a bummer. Little pew-pew guy, another dude here. He's looking at me. Get a shot into his top. I was wondering if the KV-2 might come around and shoot me, so let's back out of this. Nope. Okay, he's not interested. Back of my mind, guys, I'm thinking, man, I'm hoping one of these guys doesn't show up behind me here. Making the best out of the situation that I can. Good for us that the enemy team didn't really take advantage of our bad situation. I'm going to try to shoot one pixel right there and can't quite get her done. Down goes the KV-2. That's fantastic. All right, there goes the BZ. He's going to give me some shots potentially. Nice. Little pew-pew gun. All right, let's just scooch forward after a shot. We'll take a couple. Let's not eat that shot unless we have to. The guys in the cap they're holding, so at least in terms of what they could do for us, even while they were being Muppets hanging out on the cap, they did defeat some dudes who were pushing across. Notice the Kari made a push right there, and the Rudy. So if we count noses, what are we really missing? We have the G-SOAR over here. That's one of the tier 8s. The Kari has been spotted up underneath our guys there. What's missing is the Scorpion G. All right, where is the Scorpion G? That guy, that's the one I'm worried that he's got enough speed to sneak up behind me. Down goes the BZ. All right, let's just clean up this G-SOAR. You can see that it's a fairly even match across the board. Didn't go standard necessarily for this map, but this is what we're dealing with. KV-2, or the KV, what, 220 I think it is? Which KV is that guy? KV-2. Our KV-2 pushes dies, unfortunately. But he does let us know that the Rudy is still hanging out right there. The G-SOAR. Got to hunt this guy down, right? The 3601, the ISU. If we can kill this G-SOAR without letting him kill several of us. Oh, look at that. The ISU nukes him. Must have been on a replay. Or he must have been on a replay. Must have been on a reload. All right, let's change what we're doing. Looks like this side is sorted out. I'm going to take a peek down the road here, down the hill, make sure that Scorpion's not coming up at me, because I'm really feeling like he's going to show up. And then I can start to push the vision back to the south of the map. Hopefully the guys up there that won, I guess I do sneak up here a little bit. That's right, I forgot that I had done this. I'm going to come up to the top, so we'll do the vision thing a little later. We'll at least take a look into the middle here, because the turtle and the other guys camping in the back aren't really too far forward. And holy cow, we catch the Kari moving. Very nice. Put a shot on him. Another shot, and we'll just back out. You saw me clearly. That's going to give our guys a couple things. Number one, they know where he is. And oh, by the way, one of their heavies just showed up down there. Oh, that's a medium, sorry. That's the Rudy, just showed up down there. We have terrible map control. But the Kari's made kind of an epic mistake. The turtle and the 103 is getting sandwiched by those guys. The ISU has moved back. I lit him as he was moving across there. That was just a not great decision. Fellas, if you were the purple team and you knew that this T-23-3 kind of owned this middle carrier piece here, don't go wandering around in the middle of the map right there. It's not a good idea. They're going to come up top here and spot you. What he should have done is fallen back a bit, maybe into the south area or back towards his cap, especially as he learned that the northwest here fell. He needed to get out of where he was and just get back to his guns. Because what we're going to find, I've mentioned the Scorpion G several times, we're going to find that the Scorpion G is essentially a bot. It might even be a bot program. I'm not sure if it's just a bot player playing really badly or an actual program. You'll take a look at the way the thing behaves when we find it. Oh, okay. Interesting. So what do we got, fellas? Did I get lit crossing? Maybe. These hills down here are really close, so somebody could have been up there with some decent camo, say the Basotto or the Jackson not moving. I may not have seen them very easily. Or did I get caught out by somebody below here? This is what I'm really worried about if there's a couple of them over here. The Jackson particularly. I'm thinking, all right, what is going on? Is the Scorpion there? I did play this on... Already takes a stab at me. I did play this game on stream, so some of you have seen this go down. I just wanted to sort of go through the description of it. Okay, there's the Jackson. Fantastic. Should have waited just another potato for a more aimed-in shot. Would kill off the Jackson. Fantastic. Cross over here. So I'm pretty sure... I don't know if it was the Jackson. I think it really was somebody on their side over there that lit me. So I'm more than likely dark. Makes me feel like I can move across here. We're going to take a peek in the middle, see if we can catch somebody being silly. We're in really good shape. We just don't want to walk into too many free shots for the Scorpion or the Basotto. The Basotto's got, I think it's 360 Alpha on that thing. Pretty tough little tank in terms of HP. So I've got a good portion of my HP, but everybody else, we take a look at it, is hurting a bit. The Turtle's in good shape. The rest of them can be one-shots to several of their tanks. I guess the T-103 is probably a two-shot. Good on my team, though, they're finally starting to move out. One thing about TD players that sit in the back a lot, there is generally a time in the game where they sort of figure out they need to move forward. Not always, but in general, guys that are going to camp in the back like that, once you kind of prove that there's no one else around, they'll sort of poke their heads out and actually start playing the game towards the end. Sometimes, not all the times. All the times? Not all the time. Okay, so we're going to find the Arty, so I'm going to prioritize that because it's Arty, why not? Then there's a Scorpion, I get lit. Take a stab at him, we'll back out. Alright, he's shot. Kind of surprised I didn't get hit. Not moving. I'll back out. Got me lit again. Just sitting there, right? So that's a bit unusual, to be honest. It gets hit by Arty, gets hit by a gun. I think I am unlit. Oop. Kind of screw that up in terms of my zoom in. That's what you get with the mouse scroll wheel zoom sometimes. So it sort of moves back out of the way. Basotto gets the ISU pushing up. A little bit of Arty into that guy. This is going to get me lit. I was thinking about coming all the way around, but the Basotto presented me with a shot, so we'll hit him once. Hit him twice. Look for a third shot. He's looking at me, and we'll back out. Ooh, ooh. Oh, that was close. He takes another big hit. Oh, okay, Scorpion came around. We thump him. He shot. Just sitting there, right? I don't know, guys. Super bad player, a bot program hiding in that corner. It's hard to tell. Take a stab at the Basotto, but he dies anyway. And we crank out a 2,216 damage, 1,220 assist. I don't get any damage on this S51. Somebody else kills him because he's over in the corner right there. Just making of the match what you can. This ends up being an ace tanker, pretty good for this tank, although the requirements are relatively low on this tank, to be quite honest. 2 kills chucked in there. So it didn't really go the way you see this map go. I mean, it wasn't a completely weird match, right? But it was a little bit unusual in the way that it was played. The good news is the enemy team didn't play very well either. So you get a couple good players making good decisions. The guys in the north held on just long enough for me to get up there and sort of help them break that down a little bit more. Yes, the 2 guys camped, but at least they didn't die and get overrun. So I'll give them that much credit, that they did shred and beat up the few tanks that sort of pushed him. This team was not helped by whatever was going on with the Scorpion G over there. One of their big guns was more or less out of the game the whole time. Only time that Scorpion G becomes a factor is if we actually win in the north and come around the corner. Didn't happen this time. Here's a second example of making the most out of a match that you can. Second example, as I'm headed up here, I'm going to open my pie hole about the deployment. This is a bit controversial, old Himmelsdorf. I happen to consider the hill to be kind of the most important terrain, but I also understand that the banana road, and maybe even to some extent the other side, needs to be watched. That really goes across the board for most maps. There needs to be somebody over there to at least give information to the team that they can react to, as opposed to just leaving a flank open. This map can be won from the banana road if you push through and wrap around and trap the guys on the hill. It can be won by a good banana road and hill effort. So I will admit to that. Here's my bad deployment, no use, so I'm whining about that. But I will say that when I see sort of a weak push up the hill, I'm not too happy. Now, I am getting an AMBT and a Type 63, so maybe it's not as bad as I thought, and I've got the Panther M10. But what I know now, as I've seen the enemy deployment, is that they put a significant number of their heavies down the banana road. So in the time from my deployment to about this position, I've got a lot of great information to look at that and go, okay, hold on, wait a minute. Even if they send the 110 and some of the 7s up there, with what we have, we're actually in decent shape. At the very least, we can hold the hill while the heavies on the banana road do some work. I'm not too jazzed about the Lurva going over there, but that's all right too. But I feel better about this particular situation right now, whereas at the initial push and everybody dispersing to their positions, it didn't look great, right? So the match didn't look great, but now we have some intel and it's starting to be okay. And I've sort of gone through this whole iteration of driving from spawn up to here on, all right, load into this map, let's get some heavies up the hill, get our main power, bust up the hill, come around behind them, or fall back if we have to and win the game. As I start to deploy, I'm like, oh, this is not great. I need more power up the hill, blah, blah, bad deployment, whine. And then when I get to here, I've got a little more intel looking at the map and the mini map, and now I'm feeling better about the hill. All of that happened in the first 58 seconds of the game, right? So it's a constant OODA loop, if you will, of assessing what's going on, paying attention to what's lit. You got to love these little lights right here. That's really helpful. So what could be up the hill? Actually, the 110's been lit, so he's not going to come up. I mentioned that earlier. So the worst thing I'm expecting to show up here is a Barask and maybe the 44-100. And I really believe both of them are going to be here. That right now, if I was a betting man, I don't even remember. I think they do both show up, actually. You're like, yeah, Guido, you already know. I don't know. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure they both show up. And that would not be unusual to me. And I expect a couple of these other guys, these 7s, are probably going to come up here, right? So let's see what happens. I want to come up here and take a peeky poo. Not a great turret, but better than the whole armor. So let's just look, and plus I can scooch back if I need to. All right, nobody yet. And here comes the Panther. One thing I want you to watch out for when you come to this position, fellas, is look out for guys like Barasks who get up here really quickly, come around this corner, put 2 shots into your side, and bail. All right, what I'm talking about is this position right here. So they'll come up low, so you never see them, plus they're faster than you anyway. Swing all the way around this corner and put 2 shots into guys doing what I'm doing. All right, be very aware of that. And I do check over there, and I am watching the mini-map for if he's going to do that. So we get 1 into him. He shoots and misses. All right, AMBT is going to go sort that out. That's good. Do I get another shot on him maybe? Okay, we missed. That's all right. Okay, Type 63, I see you. Very nice. I thought about moving over there, but then I'm thinking, all right, somebody's got to kind of watch if a big push comes up and over this corner, or up and over this hill right here. The Panther pushes in. Very helpful. So we're actually in good shape up here, guys. We've got a Panther and a Scorpion G up here. A little bit surprised by the Scorpion G showing up, but he's soft, so I'm not too worried about this guy. Like, all right, where's the rest of these dudes? Let me go up here. I'll help this M10. Maybe we can start swinging around the corner here and giving these guys trouble. Let's see. We'll peek around. What do we got? Panther goes in. We got a Scorpion, and okay, dang. The IS just showed up. So I'm going to get out of the Scorpion's way. I think he's got the right idea. Let's just back out of this for a second. I didn't get spotted. That was nice. And the IS seems to be busy. The Type goes in, and I'm thinking, hey, we got to get in there. These guys are pushing. The MBT's probably loaded right now, so he's going to get in there and punish him. Take out the Panther. Take out the Scorpion G. Whack. Very nice. He's making a runner. Smack him again. IS puts a shot on our buddy. I shoot a dead guy, and now we've got an IS right here. All right, so let's assess. That was a time to come up for air. look around, gather some SA. I was in the middle of that fur ball, and now when I get out of that fur ball, I want to take a big breath and look at the mini map. And hey, look, the Banana Road guys are doing fine. Fantastic. I don't need to fall back. Okay. I could go look for shots, but it doesn't look like there's too many, to be honest. And it looks like we have this IS trapped, right? He's now overexposed because we've got 4 tanks here, and we're gonna pay attention to whether there's some guys down at the bottom of the hill there. That's the next thing to worry about. So we'll take a peek and look. But together we can work on this IS, and then we'll have another decision point. Do we come off the hill? Do we have to go back, etc.? It looks like our heavies are doing fine. We've knocked 3 of them out. Haven't seen the 44-100, so he did not, in fact, come up top. He hasn't been lit, actually. So the question is, where the hell has he been the whole game? I don't know. I thought about going over there to take shots, and then I saw this push. All right, so there's another decision point, guys. My initial thought was, let's go over to the top of the hill up here and shoot down the road, about the D or so row over there. But all 3 of the guys came off, and we're going to start putting pressure behind the enemy team. So let's just go at our gun to that. Honestly, those shots from above they're iffy on a lot of occasions. Take a stab at him. Panther kills off the GW Panther. Very nice. Panther on Panther violence. Man, I'm going to be honest. I'm not super jazzed right now about me and this Panther pushing in. It's a T-44-100. I'm a little bit worried about being shot in the back. Right now, I did not realize that the 252 was sort of alone and that his back and his turret was towards the enemy there. You probably could have surmised that, but I wasn't 100% sure I wasn't going to eat a big shot from the 252U. So I sort of put the brakes on thinking, okay, yep, here comes the 44-100. Let me try to help this guy out. We'll shoot him. All right, that's a good start. And he's going to side scrape. Oh boy, okay, this is not great. Take a stab at him, but it doesn't really work. He just thumped the M10. I think the M10's going to die. Oh, I took an early shot. That was bad. Not good. Sorry, M10. Didn't mean to leave you out like that. That sucked. All right, you know what? We're just going to push forward. The 44-100 is going to side scrape me to death. Let's push in here. Get a little bit closer to some of my other friends, and maybe we'll start working on this 252U. The 44 does not take advantage of that and push into me. There was an E25 behind me, and that's probably why. Didn't notice that, actually. So a little help from my friends. All right, let's go ahead and help the AMBT. We can maybe take down this 110. Boom, down he goes. Barask is back over there. Nope, don't want to mess with him. Also don't want to walk right into the Lurva. So here's the next piece of this puzzle. We need to get rid of this IS-3A so our heavies can get in here and help me out. They still have some decent power behind us, guys. There's a Burr and a T-44, and it's just me and an E25. So we don't want to go losing a bunch of hit points and let the Burr and the 44-100 come in there. So I don't want to just push the Lurva and give him extra shots. So I'll do that. Fantastic. The 44-100 got a little over aggressive, so we'll get rid of him. I was wondering if I might be able to light that guy by proxy light, but he's not there. Now I'm worried about the Burr. I can see his marker moving. Look at the minimap and see his marker moving this way. Yep, he's getting shot, so he doesn't want to hang out in the middle. Oh, look at this. He wants to come our way. Okay. E25 sitting there. Is he going to just come around the corner? Oh, dang. He put the brakes on. I think maybe he might have been reloading. There he is. So let's push in there. I sort of sacrificed the poor E25. Get a shot on him right there. Did E25 live? He sure did. Good on him. Dude's making a runner. So he's on a reload. It's a relatively fast reload for a Burr, but remember the rate of fire of this thing. I was looking for a Year of the Ram. Ah, it didn't work. That's a bummer. And that's it, guys. 1,675. I don't get any more damage out of this. We wrap this one up pretty easily. Again, it didn't really go, you know, in the case of the game before, it was definitely a little bit of a weird deployment for the team. In the case of this one, it was a deployment I didn't like, but it's a fairly common deployment, so you just have to react to that. It's really easy. And of course, I had to babble and be a clown talking about, you know, bad deployment. Well, there you go. There's the win. So shut your mouth. It wasn't a bad deployment. I didn't like it, but it was fantastic in terms of the way this particular match played out. It actually countered the enemy team pretty well. We had strength on the Banana Road and up top. In fact, we were probably a little better off up top, and our heavies did a decent job down below. Even the Lurva that I talked about being over on the west side got around there and did some damage, although he's dead. He got in there. And while I'm not, dropping 3,000 damage being top of the roll, I am third or fourth, something like that, on experience, and somewhere, fourth or fifth on damage, I think, maybe slightly higher at 1,600. And we end up with the win. So I just wanted to go through the whole thought process, and it's always checkpoints as you go through these. You've got local engagements, and when you're done with that, take a look at your mini map, take a look at the mini map, look at the matchmaking, look at how the match is flowing. That's probably the biggest thing when you start talking about the super unicums, is they'll see the map, the flow of the map, faster than you will. And honestly, a lot of the very top ones can free their mind a little bit of the best meta positions, right? They know them, and they'll flow to the ones that are required, but they have better knowledge of where those positions are in the more dynamic games, right? It's really nice if you had an organized team and you could get everybody to go the spots that you want them to go, but it's a random game. These are randoms, and you've got to figure out, you got to pay attention to where everyone's going and just roll with it, because you don't have any control necessarily over what they're doing. So yes, they may not be working the best positions, the best meta positions, but how do you leverage that? How do you react to that? Where do you put your tank? Even as you look at all the best meta positions and the places to go, maybe on 1 of every 10, 2 of every 10, 3 of every 10 battles or so, you're going to have to do something very different just based on the way the map is rolling to secure the win. Let me know what you think about all that down below. How do you guys go about it? That's all I've got for today. Have a great one. We will see ya.